Alright. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. For those of you who it is afternoon, for me it is still the morning. And welcome to the stream. Thanks very much for joining the Last of Us Remastered stream. So we've been playing this game for just under a week. Although we did take a couple days off, technically, for the weekend. And if you're just joining us this afternoon after not being here during the weekend, wondering what's going on, what's the deal, there was no The Last of Us stream last night. Originally, I was intending to do one after the weekend preview. However, what ended up happening was I was making my very first pot of a family recipe, homemade Italian sauce and meatballs. And when I was doing that earlier in the day, before I actually had done any streaming, it actually ended up taking twice as long as my mother said that it should take to do it. Primarily because, you know, I'm new at it. I'm not an established cook. I haven't been doing it my whole life. My mom, I'm sure when she does it, is so streamlined that she flies through all the steps. But for me, you know, slowly chopping the ingredients, slowly making the meatballs, slowly grinding the tomatoes, this and that. And I'm sure over time I'll get much better at it. But I, unfortunately, you know, took longer than expected. And so I ended up not even starting my first stream until almost an hour and a half after when I had intended to start it, which then led me to run late on that stream by about an hour, which then caused, of course, my dinner to be later, which then caused the weekend preview to be later. So it's just a domino effect. And the domino effect basically led to the point where I said, you know what? I didn't even end the weekend preview till when there would only be about an hour left for me to stream. There's no point in me doing it at that point. Let's just put it off until today. And so what I ended up doing was today, I scheduled my stream so that The Last of Us would be the first stream here to make up for the fact that we didn't have any new gameplay last night. Okay? So, that is the deal. That's why we're doing The Last of Us on first stream today. This stream will roughly be 4 hours of gameplay content with a few breaks in between, okay? And then tonight, on second stream, we've got Jak 2, more Jak 2. Many of you rejoicing after on... I swear people still say that I guess I'm some kind of an anomaly and a fluke, because I apparently can get through the hardest parts of games seemingly with the greatest of ease, but I get stuck supposedly on the easiest parts of games. So Saturday playing Jak 2, and don't get me wrong, no one is saying that Jak 2 is an easy game by any means. In fact, by consensus, most people say that it's a very, very difficult game overall, okay? But playing Jak 2 on Saturday, after only about not even 5 minutes, I beat what everyone seems to have a consensus is the hardest mission in the game, which is when you're at the docks and there's endless waves of enemies coming at you and you're supposed to fight your way through them and get out of there. After about 7 or 8 attempts trying to do that, I said, well, forget that. I'm not going to even bother trying to fight these assholes. I'm just going to jump on the hoverboard and try to get by them. And by doing that, I did it on the second attempt. So, a lot of people are like, what the hell? But then they watch the rest of the playthrough and I'm failing at some certain stages and get to the very end and then fall off a platform, have to do the whole thing over because there's no checkpoints. And so, you know, that is kind of the deal with me. I guess hard parts of games that I've never played before, sometimes I tend to fly through, and not as difficult parts, sometimes I have big problems with. I don't know why, it just seems to be a running pattern with me, it always has been. So, that's what happened with Jak 2 on Saturday. If you have watched all the Jak 2 videos on YouTube at this point, you are now caught up with that playthrough. So, if you've watched everything on YouTube, you can now watch tonight's stream and not have to worry about having missed out on certain parts of the playthrough. However, it does need to be said, okay, The only way... I lost my train of thought. Okay. It needs to be said that... Okay, now I know what I'm talking about. You don't have to always wait for the videos to be live on YouTube. The reason that I only upload a certain number of videos a day on YouTube is because if I upload too many videos, I get a overwhelmingly negative backlash from people saying, Phil, you upload too many videos, you flooded everything, yada yada yada. In fact, I'll tell you right now, since I started playing Street Fighter again, you know, once a week and getting all those matches of Street Fighter, people are unsubbing. They just are. People are saying, I don't like Street Fighter, and you give me Street Fighter videos every day, so I unsub. And it's like, well, so you're an idiot, basically. Because you don't understand that you can ignore those videos, that you can manage your subscription box on YouTube, and you're just too lazy to learn how to do it, so you just unsub. To which I say, alright then, goodbye. Goodbye if you are that lazy that you don't want to learn how YouTube works, and you're going to sit there and complain to me about you don't like a certain type of videos, but you don't know how to avoid having your inbox in your subs page flooded because you're too lazy to learn how to use YouTube. You know, it's just that simple. And people have been doing that since day one on YouTube. They complain to me, the content creator, instead of them taking the initiative to learn how to use something. That would be like me complaining to the United States federal government saying, oh my god, the government sucks, they don't provide health care. And the government says, but what are you talking about? We set up all these websites by state for you to be able to sign up for health care. Everyone qualifies now. It's the new law. But I just sit here and I complain because I'm too lazy to learn how to use the website and sign up for health care. You know? There's only so much that I can do as the content creator. I don't own YouTube. You know, I can't. I can't do anything about YouTube, you know, not having a streamlined view or whatever. But there are ways around it. There have been ways around this issue for about 4 years. And I'm not kidding you. People still complain about it. For 4 years, you've had a way to get around it. But I digress. You know, even now, I'm already losing subs because of it. Because I started playing Street Fighter again. And, you know, it's a little disappointing because I used to have the Street Fighter channel, DSP Street Fighter, and I had to basically almost 2 years ago get rid of it because of budget cuts at Machinima. It's that simple. Machinima told me they would not be able to partner that channel the way that I had it partnered in the past, and I said, well, then forget it. Shut the channel down. I'll upload everything to DSP Gaming. So now, you know, I have all my footage on one channel, and it's annoying because everything's all grouped together, I know. But, you know, if you actually take the initiative to learn how to use YouTube, it's not that bad. Alright, but anyway, getting to the point I was getting to. If YouTube annoys you, if YouTube, you don't want to wait for the videos to upload to YouTube, you hate the playlist system on YouTube, everything on YouTube sucks, and you don't want to use YouTube, you can just use Twitch. If you become a paid subscriber, you get access to all of my streams on demand. So if you prefer to watch a 2.5-hour block of footage with no breaks, which I don't understand because I would want to obviously know where I was watching the video from, which is why I like the playlist system on YouTube, but that's just me, I guess. Some people like to watch these giant blocks of footage. And you want to see it at the highest quality, meaning if I'm playing a game, for example, today, The Last of Us, at 60 frames per second, you can actually see that on Twitch. You cannot yet see that on YouTube because they didn't implement it yet. So if you become a paid subscriber on Twitch, here on Twitch, you will get access to all that stuff instantly. So if you missed Saturday's stream and you wanted to watch the whole thing Saturday night, you can watch 4.5 hours of Jak 2 content right after I'm done with the stream versus having to wait for me to upload those videos to YouTube, alright? So it's just another option for my paid subscribers who have been asking for me to provide them with extra features because, you know, let's be honest, subscriber-only mode chat and entry into giveaways, it's nice, but it's not something that everyone's looking for. Especially for people who've been saying, well, Phil, I don't really watch your streams on Twitch, but I want to donate, and I don't accept donations. I do not accept donations. I want to earn my living. I don't want to sit here begging for your money, alright? So, no, you can't just throw me money for nothing. Now, there are apparently some things in the works that I know nothing really about, but I've heard rumors about a YouTube tip jar coming up. So you watch YouTube videos, if someone likes your videos, they can tip you. That's a whole new can of worms because I hate to tell people, but tips are taxable. Tips are actually federally taxable. And I wonder if people realize that if they start using a YouTube tip jar, that that's going to open up a whole new thing with taxes. But I digress. It seems like there's some other things coming up with YouTube and things where you can soon you'll be able to integrate other things that people can help you financially if you need help. It remains to be seen if I'll be touching upon any of those, because it's like I said, the income I get between YouTube ad revenue from, well, I don't make the ad revenue, but I get paid for the ad revenue via Machinima, okay? And, you know, subs here on Twitch, and the very little bit of money that I make streaming on Twitch, I'm able to make a living right now. So, I don't really want to start sitting here and say, oh, here's a PayPal, click the donate button and send me money, you know, when you can easily do things, well, just through watching my content. First of all, I can make out, and then if you become a paid subscriber and you get something extra out of it, that makes more sense to me. That just makes more sense to me, you know. So just throwing that out there. Now, one or two quick things to talk about. A little bit of fun news for you guys. First of all, I finally, yes, I know, after 2 weeks of having it, had a chance to bring my green screen setup upstairs. What I mean by that is it was delivered 2 weeks ago. It's a giant green screen with rigging, with lighting and everything. And it was so heavy, it was like 35 pounds, that I just could not bring it upstairs myself due to my back injury. And so finally yesterday, Leanna and I brought a few things upstairs, including this giant bin of leftover stuff that I don't want to unpack, because it's stuff like my PS2 systems and some old speakers that still work, but I don't want to throw them out, but at the same time I don't want to unpack them. And then she helped me bring up the green screen setup as well, and that's finally in my office. It's not set up, it's still in the box. But that's one step towards getting it set up, you know what I mean? Like, just getting it in the room is a step towards getting it set up. And what I'm hoping is that within the next week or two, is that I can have a chance to maybe take some time out one day to try to mess with this thing. Set it up against the wall, okay? And get the lighting, because there is lighting. There's I think 2 to 3 lights that came with the thing that's supposed to give you the ideal lighting for the green screen to work properly. And if I can get this worked out by the end of August, which I guess would be my hope since this is a dead month anyway, there's no real new releases until the end of August, that'd be great, because then I could start implementing it in certain things that I do, including the weekend preview, including the new series that I want to start up called Game Day, where once the new releases start coming out, you know, late August and September, the beginning of the hardcore gaming season, then instead of doing my old series release day unboxing, where I would sit there and unbox the games and talk about them, instead we'll just talk about the releases for that week, my relationship to them, my background with them, what I think about them, and then how I'll be handling them for that week, how I'll be playing them and covering them. I think that that is a lot more interesting than me saying, oh, here's the game, oh look, I opened the box, there's nothing inside whatsoever besides a disc, because then it's kind of a misnomer. People are looking for a big elaborate unboxing, and 97% of the video is me talking about the game, and 1% is me unboxing the game, and 2% is the intro. So, you know, I think that would be a better series, Game Day. And by the way, I would like to say, if anyone would like to submit logos, you know, artwork, any kind of ideas for Game Day, more than happy to accept those, because I'm going to need them coming up soon. You know, it's going to be a fun new series that I think people are really going to enjoy. But as you know, I'm no logo or art designer, and I'm no good at it. So take your stabs at it if you would like, okay? You know where to submit the artwork on my forums. There's a thread for it, so. Alright, so last but certainly not least, and then we'll get to gameplay here on the stream. Yes, there is gameplay on the stream. Just giving a little pre-stream here. As you can see, the viewership is building up, okay? I have purchased, as of last night, well, I guess you could say as of this morning, a Nintendo 3DS capture setup. Now, I waited a very long time to purchase this. And primarily the reason that I waited so long to purchase it is because up to now, and it was just recently when this was updated, the Nintendo 3DS was incredibly hard to capture from because of the way that it outputs audio. Okay? Basically, what you would have to do is have a connection through USB for video, and then a separate connection via a stereo headphone jack for audio, you would then have to take the video and the audio and manually sync them because they weren't synced, and there were all kinds of issues. If you actually look on the web about people who were doing this, like early adopters, people who wanted to capture and stream on 3DS, all the problems that they had trying to do this, it was a nightmare. And even as early as last year, the end of last year, I was considering doing it because I wanted to do it for games like Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds and a few others that came out after that, like Bravely Default, and it just wasn't viable. I was reading up on it, and people were just saying, no, it's not working. It's really a pain in the ass to work, and there's just no reason to unless you really want to put in tons of work, and every video that you make for a playthrough needs to be run through a video editor to sync audio and your commentary and everything. It's really not viable to do it, okay? But thanks to a few viewers and fans who sent me a few links, I did some research, and I also want to say a very special thanks to Lord Vash, or Vash12349, or whatever his name actually is on YouTube. I don't know because I don't watch other YouTubers' videos, but I am aware that he is a YouTube gamer. Much like me, he does it for the love of the game and not to make a buck. And he has been doing 3DS footage. In particular, he's been doing Tomodachi Life, which is a game that I've actually been playing along with Leanna on the 3DS. It's a sim-style game where you put virtual people into an island and stuff like that. But anyway, he has a capture device that he uses to make Tomodachi Life videos. And Leanna showed me a few of these videos. I was like, wow, those actually came out really well. Like, everything's synced, the video looks great, and this is looking really interesting. And I'm wondering how this is going. You know, how is he doing this? So I actually talked to Vash about it on Twitter, and he's like, oh no, see, they changed it. You know, it used to be that all the capture devices for 3DS were a nightmare, but just recently, a few months ago, they updated all the software and the firmware for the capture stuff, and now everything's via USB. So you got video, audio, everything comes in via USB, and you can even use a program like XSplit to either bring it in as a video source, or you can do screen grab, screen capture, screen region, sorry, to capture the screens and put them onto, you know, a video feed, and then just use the audio, the USB as the audio source, and you can, you know, make it maybe stagger a little bit, but it'll sync. You can get it to sync in a program like XSplit. And he even said that I have streamed with this before and it worked. So after hearing that, I was like, now here's a guy who this, you know, he's like me. This is what he does. This is, you know, he's a true gamer. He's not here just to sit here in a video editor for 400 years and fucking put 400 effects on his videos. He actually is in it for the love of the game. And he found a way to viably do the 3DS capture setup. And I actually asked him because I found a few websites that sold different 3DS capture devices. And I said, you know, do you have a recommendation? He said, yes, get this one because this place is good. They're reputable. You'll get your stuff within a few days. And everything that you need, you know, pretty much comes with it. So I did. I went there and I actually ordered a Nintendo 3DS XL capture setup. So it includes the system, a brand new 3DS XL with all the capture devices installed in it, and then a USB cable coming out. And what happens is it comes with instructions on how to download all the software you need to get it to work. And I'm hoping that it works out. I should have it. Supposedly I should have it by the end of this week, which would be nice because then we can play with it, right? We can mess around with it a little bit. And some people have already been saying, well, if it works, or why don't you do Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds? Why don't you do this and that? And I'm like, you know, this would be a cool time to start a playthrough like that because it is downtime, it's the summer, and there's not a heck of a lot going on. But the bottom line is that my 3DS has always been something that I very casually play. It's not something that I sit down and for, you know, a week straight, every night I'm playing 3DS to beat a game. I've never done that. And in that regard, A Link Between Worlds, I've been playing this game since December and I haven't beaten it. In fact, just when we flew out here to live here a month ago was the last time I played it, and I just got to the Dark World, where I guess there's the 8 sages or whatever that are captured and you need to free them or whatever the hell it is. So that's how long it's taking me to beat a game on 3DS. I don't sit here and dedicate myself to actually playing it. That could change. That could change, right? That could change in the future. Now, if this 3DS Capture device works well. It's easy to use. It's not a pain in the ass, and I can actually use it in a program like XSplit or even OBS, because OBS, I believe, would do the same thing that XSplit can do, right? I think that we may be able to be doing full-length 3DS playthroughs. Now, the catch-22 here is that the 3DS isn't high definition, right? The Nintendo 3DS is 2 low-definition screens, so what I'll need to do is find a way to position them so that they look, you know, that you can see everything that's going on in a playthrough and that it's not too squished or whatever. I may have to have people create some artwork similar to what I do for, say, the Weekend Preview or Hate Live, where there's a border and that the screens are inside of the borders. You know what I mean? And for each playthrough, that could be unique if someone makes like a cool border and I put the video in there. But really, primarily, the 2 games this year that I really want to try out on this thing is the Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright, which is supposedly coming out at the end of this month. And then, of course, coming up in October, the big one, the one that everyone's looking to get, Smash Brothers on 3DS, which of course comes out for 3DS a month or 2 before it comes out on the Wii U, because Nintendo pretty much knows that if they don't release it beforehand, that everyone will buy it for Wii U and no one's going to really, it's going to cut into the sales on the 3DS, you know what I mean? So it's kind of weird. It's like the 3DS version is the appetizer, and then the main course is coming later on the Wii U. So, you know, those 2 games I think people would definitely like to see playthroughs of. Okay, but I gotta figure out how exactly does it work, right? I'm gonna be messing with it, tinkering with it, trying to get it to work. And I'm gonna say this: at this point, this is the last major purchase that I'm making this year. Meaning, after this, I cannot afford to buy any more capture equipment. I cannot afford to buy more PCs. I cannot afford to even buy like big pieces of furniture. I'm tapped at this point. I cannot spend any more money. I've got to pay my bills now, all the stuff that I bought for this house and for my new office and everything over the past month is now basically tapped out my finances, and I'm done. I cannot afford to buy anything else. This is it. That's the limit of what I can get. So don't expect to see any more major purchases this year. You know, there's really nothing else coming out besides games, and that's what I'm getting, games. I'm just not going to be buying any more hardware, nothing. I'm done. I'm tapped. That's the limit. Okay, I know some people are saying, what about the PS Vita TV? Well, what I say is, well, there probably have to be a game on PS Vita that I want to play first, which there hasn't been in about 2 years. That thing has literally been collecting dust. It used to be on my coffee table. Well, actually, it was my side table. Now it's in my closet. It just sits there, has a big, thick layer of dust on it. Because that thing is the biggest fucking failed portable I've ever seen in my life. When it came out, I said it was going to be worthless, that no one's going to want to play high-resolution, widescreen games on a fucking portable system, and boom, I was 100% correct. If you look at sales numbers, it's one of the least successful handhelds in history. I think even they're saying that some of the handhelds of the 1990s that didn't even do that well sold better than this thing. Which is pretty funny. So there you have it. Alright, so that is it. Just wanted to let you guys know I was excited about that. We'll have to see later this week if this 3DS capture device arrives, how it works, messing around with it. You'll probably see some videos that'll be more test videos than anything else with it. Maybe even have a whole stream where I just try to mess around with it and get it to work. And we'll go from there. We shall go from there, okay? Alright, everyone, let's end the pre-stream. We actually built up a decent amount of viewers here. We're going to have about 4 hours of The Last of Us Remastered here on stream today. And, thanks for watching. Let's get started.